Look who's with us, Congressman Eric Burlison from House Oversight. It's great to have you on, sir. Can you help us out with this story? Because we've been tracking James Biden and his testimony before your committee and the House impeachment managers. So James Biden contradicts himself, changes testimony. He first claimed it was not part of Hunter Biden's $5 million business deal with China's energy conglomerate CEFC. But then did he admit he was after you guys showed him the documents, showed him the receipts, showed his signature?
Yeah, he said that he had forgot that he had signed that document. You know, if he wasn't involved, then how did he know, as he claimed, that they were not involved with the Chinese Communist Party, that this Chinese energy company wasn't connected to the Chinese Communist Party, only to find out that Hunter Biden had at one point said that Yi was the protege of President Xi of China. So there's a lot of contradictory statements that have occurred. And at the end of the day, the facts contradict a lot of what James Biden told us.
You know, questions are still swirling over how the Biden family got very rich selling the, quote, Joe Biden brand. There's also questions swirling of whether the president personally profited. But then, you know, so James Biden, is it true that he told lawmakers yesterday there is no loan documentation for the interest-free loans he got from Joe Biden? So the family's been using this narrative that there are loans swirling around. There's maybe tax implications from structuring payments like that. But, you know, so at least $240,000 in checks that went to Joe Biden from family deals. But they keep saying these are loans. Has he turned over loan documents, any of them, to you guys proving they were loans?
No, and he claims that there weren't any loan documents. He also claimed that he didn't know which fund that the money originated from. So when he claimed that he received money from Joe Biden originally, and those funds he was attempting to repay, he didn't know where he received the funds from because he had an arrangement with the law firm that had access to Joe Biden's personal bank accounts and his business accounts. And I'm not sure even Joe Biden knew that the money was flowing in and out of his business and personal bank accounts.
So let me back up.
And that, to me,
yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
That, to me, is what sets up this entire narrative, which is that at the end of the day, the money was flowing back and forth. There really was no line of demarcation between Joe Biden's expenses, his bank accounts, and those of his brother and that of Hunter.
Yeah, and they purposely set up multiple off-balance sheet shell companies that bury the cash flow. So that's according to what lawmakers have been telling us. So House Oversight, House Judiciary, no IRS records, no loan documents confirming the money that Joe Biden was getting that Jim Biden was saying were loan repayments. No documents supporting what they're saying.
No, there's no documentation. And, you know, and also James Biden, the way in which he describes what he was providing to these foreign entities is really acting as a foreign agent. He not only, you know, if you put all the unethical issue aside of Joe Biden personally receiving financial benefit, if you set that aside, we still have the facts that Jim Biden, Hunter Biden were acting as foreign agents. They were unregistered, clearly. And their excuse is that they were just bad at their job, that they ultimately never provided any outcome to for example, the Chinese energy company.
You know what's really striking here, Congressman? You bring up the foreign agent violating foreign lobbying laws. They didn't register as foreign agents when they were taking in money from Kazakhstan, Romania, China, Russia. So this was happening at the same time that then Vice President Biden was accusing General Michael Flynn of violating foreign lobbying laws when he talked to a foreign official. But this was going on at the same time. Final word.
Yeah, and they sent Paul Manafort to jail for it, for the exact same thing. So there's a lot of hypocrisy here. And at the end of the day, the American people see right through this. When Joe Biden's personally benefiting, when his family's personally benefiting, it doesn't matter what you call it. At the end of the day, it's a pay-for-play scheme.
Got it. Congressman Burlison, thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to see you.